Hello there, dear viewer. Today's video is going to be focused all around television on Blu-ray. Now, television isn't something that I talk about an awful lot on the channel. I'm mainly a movie guy, but I've been wanting to make more time for television, both new TV shows and also shows from television history that I've just never watched before. And luckily, it seems to me that within the Blu-ray industry, there is more of a focus being placed on bringing television to the format. Because I feel over the past few years, television hasn't been a massive focus. The big companies have prioritized their streaming services over physical media. And the likes of Disney, for example, were not releasing their new programs on physical media, although they have changed that now. And we are now getting some of the Star Wars and the Marvel programs on 4K discs. So I thought it would be a good chance to talk about some of the great television Blu-rays that I've been watching lately. And the trouble with television is when you buy a series on Blu-ray, those series are very long and often you don't get a chance to watch all of it in a short time span. Particularly some of the box sets I'm about to talk about have over 60 hours worth of content, which is a lot to watch in a short period of time. So many of these I'm still working my way through, but I'm having a great time and I want to share them with you. So we come to the first title, and this is quite a timely one because it ties into a brand new film which is in cinemas right now. I'm talking about the original Paddington Bear television series from the 1970s. Of course, there is a new Paddington movie, Paddington in Peru, which I haven't seen yet. But this is great timing, and this is the first time these are available in high definition on physical media. You get both series 1 and 2 on this Blu-ray release, and I've been having a great time watching them. You do have to have certain expectations in terms of how these look nowadays, because of how they were shot and how the restoration process has been done. Do not go in expecting some kind of 4K crystal clear, crisp kind of restoration as you might have from an older film, for example. But nevertheless, this is the best that this program has looked, as far as I'm concerned. Much better than me watching some of the dodgy versions on YouTube that were on there for the past decade or so. This is much better quality, and I'm very happy to have this in the collection. There's also a nice little surprise with this. If I just open this up, there is a little fold-out scene. So if you do happen to pick up this edition from Fabulous Films, then you can look forward to that. The only downside because of this fold-out thing is that the case is DVD height, so it doesn't fit into my specifically engineered Blu-ray height shelves behind me. So I'll have to work out where this is going to go, but that is such a minor first world problem quibble that it's not even worth paying attention to. So very much enjoyed this. I really do hope more people will seek this one out. Next, I have something that has a lot of people excited, a certain fan base for this very show, which, to be honest with you, I was not too familiar with, but I have been kindly sent this set to watch and I'm enjoying it so far. It is Blake 7, and this is the complete first series. All 13 episodes in the first series have been restored by the BBC for this Blu-ray release. So that is why it has so many people excited, and they have even updated some of the special effects for some of the spaceship sequences, which you can either watch the new versions or you can watch the old versions. So don't worry, it's not some complete revisionism that's been forced upon you. And this is a series that was created by, I believe, the creator of Doctor Who, or one of the original kind of creative people involved with that. I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan. I know very little, actually, especially about classic Doctor Who. But I imagine a lot of Doctor Who fans are particularly excited to revisit Blake 7. You also get a great documentary on here looking back at the creation of the series with many of the people that were involved. So I think this is a fantastic box set, and I have to imagine that if this is successful, which it seems like it is because a lot of people are talking about this, there will be more to come. Some of the other series will make it to Blu-ray. Something extremely exciting that I got from overseas is this from Warner Archive Collection. This is the Top Cat complete series making its way to Blu-ray. And while this is a very old cartoon at this point, this was originally from the 60s, I think. Yeah, the early 1960s. I have very fond memories of watching this as a child. It was shown on Cartoon Network here in the UK. And as a child, you don't really have any idea of when cartoons were made. I think back to watching, old Disney movies, the Disney classics, and whether it was made in the 90s or in the 50s, I had no concept of when it was made. It's only as an adult now, looking back, you can kind of know that. You get all 30 episodes here remastered in HD from 4K scans of the original materials. And I thought they looked great and sounded great. And there's also some great special features. There's some commentaries on certain episodes. So this was a fantastic release from Warner Archive, and I've absolutely been loving what Warner Archive are doing in terms of movies, but also television. And this is region free, as far as I'm aware. Warner Archive don't region lock their discs. So this one gets a very strong recommendation from me. Sticking with animation, I have a title from Germany that's been released by Turbine Media. It is Simsalagrim, the complete series. This is on 8 DVDs, but it's also on 3 Blu-rays within the set. This is a Saturday morning type cartoon where we follow some great characters as they get into all kind of fantasy fairy tale-esque stories. And I think this would be a particularly great one if you have small children or you want something that is very family friendly. These are definitely geared towards that. While this is a German release and the series is a German production, there are English dubs on the Blu-rays and the DVDs, because I think back in the 90s when the first series came out, and then in the 2010s when the second series came out, they were shown in Australia and in Ireland, never in England or the United States as far as I know, but those English dubs are from Australia and Ireland. So it's great that we're able to experience this. If you're not a native German speaker, you can watch with the English dubs. And that's what I've been doing, and I've been having a great time. Going back to the BBC, and just in time for Christmas, we have the Box of Delights. This is something, again, that I had not seen, but I have to tell you, this is one of the craziest things that I've seen from this period. I can't believe this kind of family kids television was getting funded and greenlit by the BBC. The Box of Delights is about this travelling Punch and Judy man who has this box, and with this box he is able to travel through time and space and go to these fantastical places, and there are people out to get this box from him. So he meets this young boy and they go on these journeys together. It really is a lot of fun, and it's great to have it on a Blu-ray and readily watchable. I think they are also showing it on iPlayer over Christmas, so if you don't want to get the Blu-ray, you could hold out for that. The series was originally shot on videotape, so do temper your expectations. It's not perhaps going to look as good as you would imagine. Something worth emphasizing is there is a great documentary, a brand new one, that looks back at the making of this series and interviews many of the people that were involved, and they even go to some of the locations. So it's just a well-produced documentary. Could have probably been its own thing that they could have sold on a disc, but here it's included with the series, and I thought it was excellent. So a fantastic release. Also from the BBC, I have Solar System Voyage into the Unknown. This is with Professor Brian Cox, and I'm a sucker for these space documentaries, nature documentaries, all of the great stuff that the BBC do in this area. It's about a 5-hour long series looking at all of the weird and wonderful phenomena that goes on in our solar system, and it's just miraculous to watch this kind of stuff and think that this is happening so far away on such a grand scale, but we have no idea it's happening. So I had a great time watching this one, and if you're like me and you like those kind of space documentaries, this is something to definitely check out. And now for a modern TV series that has just come to Blu-ray in the UK. It's Dark Winds, getting season 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. This is a fantastic series. I'm on season 1 at the moment, but I'm having such a great time. We follow these Navajo policemen in the 1970s as they are investigating all these different crimes that seem unrelated. But there's something else going on here, and it really is these two guys, as it says on the back of the box, battling the forces of evil. This is a fantastic series. I love the atmosphere, the feeling of it. And I suppose if you like things like True Detective, this is one to look out for. And that would be everything, but wait, there's just one more thing. We have these. This is the complete Columbo collection, which has just come to Blu-ray in the UK. You have the earlier years from the 1970s, and then you have the 1980s run up until the early 2000s. These are 2 box sets from Fabulous Films here in the UK. And this 70s collection. This runs over 60 hours long. So I'm working my way through this. I loved watching the original pilots, which have been restored in 4K. Columbo is one of my dad's favourite television series, and I have very fond memories of watching this with him and with my mum as a young boy. And obviously I wasn't really getting all of the plot things that were going on. But I remember loving the character of Columbo, played by Peter Falk. This is long before I would know Peter Falk in the Cassavetes movies and just know how strong an actor he is. I loved him in this part. The writing in this show is so strong because if you're not familiar with Columbo, a murder typically happens at the start of an episode and we see how things have been carried out. We see the murders. We know who they are essentially. But there is dramatic irony because while we know, Columbo himself does not know. And the fun is watching him piece everything together. And typically they build to this climax where you almost feel like he's not going to get it. How is he going to put everything together? But then he does, miraculously, with one more thing. And it's just a joy to watch. And I don't know how they pulled it off over such a sustained period of time. Certainly the 1970s run is better than the later stuff. Later on it has the habit of going a bit over the top, and perhaps because Columbo is an older man and Peter Falk is older, perhaps there's not as much energy in it. But make no mistake that even lesser Columbo is better than most other things you will watch on TV back then or even today. These are from remasters that were done by Universal. I think these are the same that are available from Kino Lorber in the United States. And while there are some problems in terms of the framing on these restorations, they are perfectly watchable. I think it's mainly on the masters for the final year stuff where the framing is not right. But it's a shame that couldn't be fixed or be taken into account when the restoration was done by Universal. But this is one of those things where I can't see that ever being fixed, unfortunately. So for me, it's a no-brainer to get these sets and be able to enjoy Columbo whenever I want. And there's just so much material here for me to enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed that quick look at some of the television that I have been watching and loving lately on Blu-ray. This is great to be getting some of this older stuff and newer stuff coming to the format. And I just really hope that over the next few years, we can continue to get more television on the Blu-ray format and even on the 4K format. If you enjoy this video, please do stick around on the channel, watch another video of mine, perhaps the one that's going to be presented on screen right now. Until next time, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.